I want to talk to you about the Tucker Carlson show, and I want to have a quick conversation about podcast success story. What makes this show very, very successful? Okay, and let's first talk about the show itself. Then I'll give you a quick background about Tucker Carlson himself. Okay, so when you think about the Tucker Carlson show, basically you have a let's say a 2 to 3 hour podcast or a show or interview, if you will. It really depends on the guest. Sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 3 hours. But the cool thing is that you are able to actually tune in and have a conversation about everything. About everything. It's not just about politics. I mean, Tucker Carlson is actually known as the very first, let's say, journalist to interview Putin, for instance. So you have a variety of topics that he covers. Okay, so the Tucker Carlson show is actually a news podcast, and it's usually 2 to 3 hours on subjects that are very deep, subjects that really relate to political or geopolitical events. Okay, that's really important. Now, one thing I want to say here is that when you think about this Tucker Carlson show, it's actually a weekly commentary podcast. So it's actually a podcast that's actually released. You have every week you have new episodes being released. That consistency is going to be very key because people love Tucker Carlson because he's a hard worker. I mean, here is someone who has been in the industry for more than 25 years, who has always been consistent. And so the thing that you're going to love about the Tucker Carlson show is that he not only invites diverse hosts. He talks about diverse things, like a variety of topics. But most importantly, and I want to insist on that, most importantly, he always goes back to making sure that the audience is being listened to. In other words, Tucker Carlson is not having a weekly commentary. He's having a weekly conversation about a topic that his audience cares about, and his audience is really is in millions. Okay, this is a well known host, so you don't have just a couple of hundreds of thousands of listeners. You have millions of listeners who actually tune in every single week to hear what Tucker has to say about this or that. So about the Tucker Carlson show, that's what it is. Okay, it's a weekly commentary about everything political and geopolitical. What about Tucker Carlson himself, the host? Now, Tucker Carlson has been actually in the news media for nearly 30 years. Okay, he started his media career in the 90s, and he was actually a journalist, like a journalist for the Weekly Standard, okay, and other publications. And from 2000 to 2005, you can see him actually as a commentator on CNN. He used to be a CNN commentator, okay, and also he used to be a co-host of Crossfire. So back then, Crossfire was a really popular primetime news debate platform. Okay, so that's how Carlson really got known by Americans. People love him because he has a straight talk. He has the ability to actually articulate, let's say, topics for you in a very conversational way. So that's really important. So when you think about Tucker Carlson, think about someone who has been in the news media for nearly 30 years. And what I want to say here also is that his career from CNN all the way to Fox News was very sort of phenomenal. In other words, he's very talented. So CNN 2000 to 2005, okay, and from 2004 2005 he was briefly at PBS, okay, and from 2005 to 2008, yeah, 3 years he was with MSNBC. And MSNBC, he actually had a Tucker, like a show called Tucker, where he was talking about stuff. Okay, I mean, a lot of folks think about MSNBC as quote unquote a liberal show, but basically, Tucker had a very important follower back. I mean, followership back in the days. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because when you actually look at the Tucker Carlson show today as a podcast, he didn't really build his career in a couple of years. Okay, his career took years, took decades, if you will, to actually solidify. So Tucker Carlson is a very talented commentator, inter- interviewer because he has honed his skill for many, many years at different publications. As a matter of fact, he also really navigated a little bit about like a little bit of work when it comes to media outside journalism from 2006 to 2008. As a matter of fact, he was actually on like he was on other shows. Okay, The King of Queens, for instance, also 30 Rock. So that's important. So long story short, Tucker is not just a journalist. That's the point I want to really I want to emphasize here. So if you think about the Tucker Carlson show, if part of the success story comes from the fact that the host himself is a very talented, is a very sort of prolific writer, prolific author. I'll speak about his other gigs later on, but basically, I quickly want to talk to you, continue to talk to you about his itinerary as a journalist, as a media personality. So from 2010 to 2020, he was actually at the Daily Caller. Okay, the Daily Caller. So a little bit when he left actually let's say Fox News Channel. He was with the Daily Caller a little bit. Okay, one thing I want to say here is that basically, if you are going to think about the journey of Tucker, you have to understand that he did a lot of things. Not just and there is no correlation. There sometimes there is no correlation between those things. Okay, for example, when he was at the Daily Caller, he actually had a partnership with Neil Patel, a former aide to Dick Cheney, and a former college roommate of Carlson. Okay, so they launched back then. They launched a political news website titled The Daily Caller, and Carlson served as editor in chief, and occasionally actually wrote opinion pieces with Patel. Okay, so that's an important element to think about that. And he was at Fox News Channel from 2009 to 2023 for 14 years. Okay, 14 years. Tucker had a really prominent role at that media publication. You also have the Tucker Carlson Tonight, which went from 2016 to 2023. So again, everything I'm telling you, really, those shows were really popular back in the days. You also have the Tucker Carlson Today. That was actually multi year deal with Fox News to actually host a weekly podcast. Okay, now these things didn't really go as far as possible because Tucker actually left. He departed, abruptly from Fox. But hey, listen, things happen. Okay, but what I want you to really think is that basically Tucker Carlson actually landed an interview with Vladimir Putin. That was a big thing back in the days. I mean, not back in the days, like a couple of months ago. Why? Because not a lot of American journalists can actually have can be lucky enough to get closer to the Russian president, and Tucker was able to actually achieve that feat. So that's really fantastic. The thing is that when you think about the Tucker Carlson show, I want you to think about just one element within an ecosystem. The beauty of Tucker Carlson is that he's very creative, but he's also a business person. Okay, he's a businessman. He has an entire team behind him. So this is not just a commentator giving you news about politics every week on YouTube or Apple Podcast or Spotify. No, this is a businessman. This is a media personality, but this is somebody who has a great knowledge of business. Why? Because Tucker Carlson actually has created a media, or at least he's trying to create. He's in the process of creating a media empire. Okay, so and that empire is called TCN, the Tucker Carlson Network. And so think about the network as a new streaming platform. It is actually home to exclusive, all new content from Tucker Carlson. So what happens here is that if you are part of the TCN, they'll be releasing new video content that tells the stories that matter and help you make sense of the world around you. So that's kind of cool. I mean, the cool thing is that Tucker has learned from his past, and he's trying now to really have a full control over his work, his content. Okay, so basically, If you and they want you to subscribe too. Okay, so when it comes to the Tucker Carlson network, you have the ability to watch Tucker. So you can watch the Tucker Carlson show on YouTube, on other platform. You also have documentaries. So the TCN produces documentaries like Trump Art of the Surge, for instance, Line in the Sand, All the President's Men. Those are great documentaries that you might want to really watch. You're able to listen to other Carlson productions on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or you can read Tucker. Actually, Tucker has a morning note where he discuss issues of import to him. So maybe you might want to really subscribe to that email, to that newsletter, and learn about it and hear. So totally fantastic. So if you think about the Tucker Carlson show, one of the success stories not only has to come from the host himself, but also the way they were able to monetize. I want to insist on that. The way they were able to monetize the show, because the whole thing is that TCN, the Tucker Carlson Network, is not just a fledgling media empire. No, this is a well thought out business model that's actually coalescing all avenues of revenue for Tucker Carlson and his organization. So basically, how does Tucker Carlson monetize his talent, his podcast, his content, his interviews? Well, the first thing he does, the first avenue of revenue for Tucker Carlson is advertising. They make money through advertising. So every platform where they were at, every platform where Tucker Carlson Tucker Carlson's content is on, they make money from advertising. Let me give you an example. On YouTube, for instance, on YouTube, they make money through advertising. So when you watch the 2 to 3 hour Tucker Carlson podcast on YouTube, and you have every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes or every 2 minutes or whatever, if you have let's say pre-roll ads or mid-roll ads or post-roll ads, Tucker Carlson is making money. Okay, so that's important to really think about. And also, you have Spotify. So on Spotify, Tucker Carlson also is making money if there are ads. If ads run through, the podcast there. You also have the same business model on Apple. So Tucker Carlson is also on Apple Podcast. So that's kind of cool. They make money that way as well. So that's really fantastic. Another way that Tucker Carlson makes a lot of cash this year, at least he generates revenue, is through brand sponsorships. Okay, brand sponsorships are going to be great for Tucker in the sense that he's constantly appealing to a diverse audience. So they're able to actually sign multi-year sponsorship deals with prominent brands. And see, the thing is, a lot of folks think that Tucker Carlson is a conservative news commentator. So if you are a company, you do not want to be associated with Republicans or Democrats or whatever. No, the thing is that Tucker Carlson has a brand himself, okay, and the brand is not Republican or Democrat. No, it's a brand. This is the Tucker Carlson brand, okay. He's a prominent journalist. He's a prominent news person who has actually navigated the media landscape for many decades. So brand sponsorships are one way for Tucker Carlson to make money. He also has something called TCN subscriptions. So you're able to actually join the Tucker Carlson network for $6 a month. Okay. So when you actually accept an annual billing, they are charging you $6 a month. So that's $72. But if you want a monthly billing, you have to pay $9 a month. Okay, so that's important. So that's a good way for Tucker Carlson to have a stable base of revenue. And the cool thing is, if you pay $6 a month, you're able to receive Tucker Carlson's weekday news briefing. Okay, you can enjoy all content ad free. You're able to have access to a members only content, and you also have early access to event tickets. So that's important. You also have shop. So Tucker Carlson is actually has some merch. He sells some merch also. So basically, the this podcast host is able to make money through merch also, and you can see on the screen some of the merch he has on his show, and those like that kind of gear can appeal to a specific segment of the population, and that's a good source of revenue for Tucker Carlson this year. Now, one thing I want to say here is that you can see that the monetization strategies are really diverse. Okay, and that's good. That tells you the story of a very brilliant businessman, because people think Tucker Carlson is just a media personality. No, he's not. He's more than that. Okay, he knows how to make money. He knows how to speak to his audience, and he knows how to really scale his business, especially through TCN. Another way that the Tucker Carlson show monetizes the host talent is through gift cards. So you can see this on the screen here. So what happens here is that you can receive a gift card from TCN, a TCN gift card, and you are able to have unlimited access to the entire content library. Okay, so that's an important element to think about. And the cool thing is that you can actually give a membership. So you can give the membership to a third party, to someone that you like. For instance, you can see this on the screen. Honestly, I love the card itself. I mean, it's nicely designed, and so you have a gift card for 1 year subscription. The whole thing I'm telling you here is that Tucker Carlson is very, very savvy when it comes to business. When it comes to business in general, okay. At least he has a team behind him that can support that sort of let's say business strategy. Another way that Tucker Carlson actually makes money from his podcast is through TV deals or app deals. That's important. So, for instance, you can actually enjoy a high definition, immersive viewing experience on your TV, whereby you access live broadcasts of events, news, and exclusive live shows. That's really cool. Okay, you are able to browse a vast library of exclusive shows, interviews, and documentaries. So that's kind of cool. And you can watch actually TCN on Apple TV, on Roku, on Fire TV, on Google TV. So that's kind of cool. Okay, and so that's really good. So if you are willing to watch the shows, that's kind of cool. You can also have access to the TCN TV app. So just search for Tucker Carlson Network on your TV App Store. So you can download the app, and the app allows you to really access the content more freely. Okay, so like I said, TCN is here to stay, and TCN is actually a brainchild of a journalist, a media man, a brilliant businessman. Okay, and this is just the beginning of TCN. TCN is going to be a very big in the future when you really see how they are really how they are, let's say how they are really putting the foundation for this media empire actually in place. That's really fantastic. So, in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about the Tucker Carlson show, why the show is very successful, and how they are able to monetize that success. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.